Hello, everybody. I am Don. This is Buffalo SportsCenter, and today we are going to run down all of the last minute Sabres rumors. We are about to go into the trade season, the draft season. Free agency will open on July 1st as well. So there's a lot of rumors to get into. I just want to sum up basically what I will be talking about in a few minutes. First, the Sabres are going to be very aggressive in the trade market over the next week. That has been noted by numerous NHL insiders, including Frank Saravalli, David Pagnotta, Elliot Friedman, of course, Pierre LeBrun. All of them have been saying the same thing, that the Sabres are calling teams are calling Buffalo Sabres. There's a lot of chatter happening right now. Whether or not that leads to anything real, that remains to be seen. We've kind of heard the song and dance before, right? As Sabres fans, that Kevin Adams is doing a lot of talking. He's picking up the phone. He's calling teams. Has it really materialized into anything, though? Not really. Kevin Adams likes to talk the talk, but we will see over the next 2 weeks whether he actually walks the walk. Some other big thematic things to note about the Buffalo Sabres are that the Sabres are not interested in moving for players that are going to be future assets. They want NHL ready help, players that can impact this team right now, help the Sabres win now. But everyone who's clicked on this video probably knows that already, that the Sabres are active in trade talks, that they're going to be aggressive this offseason, that Kevin Adams, his job is on the line. So let's get into some of the more specific rumors and players that are going to be important over the next 2 weeks. Let's first talk about JJ Peterka. Now, not only I have talked about this here on Buffalo SportsCenter, but Cal has also discussed this in numerous different videos. It's widely known at this point, right, that JJ Peterka is on the trade market, that there are a whole host of teams looking to get in for JJ Peterka. He is unhappy here in Buffalo. He's probably unwilling to sign a long-term extension here in Buffalo, which, again, I don't really blame him. But on the one hand, he's only been here for 3 of the 14 years of this playoff drought, and he's already crying and whining and trying to force his way out. But this is in line with a whole trend now, a new trend of young NHL-ready players who are agitating their way out of cities and into the trade market and onto new, more desirable markets or locations or teams. Peterka is certainly one of those players. It appears from all the reports that he's agitating for a move out of Buffalo. There is a chance, though, that this could all be rectified. The Sabres have been unwilling thus far to really entertain any Peterka trade talks, but with the amount of teams being involved or being interested for JJ Peterka, plus some of the offers that they've probably been producing and showing to Kevin Adams, the Sabres have sort of changed their mind about that. They've gone from not entertaining any Peterka trade talks to now they're listening, they're considering. A bunch of different NHL insiders, including Chris Johnston of The Athletic, have put JJ Peterka at the top of their NHL trade boards for this offseason. So that should tell you something, right, folks? Peterka could be gone. Now, some of those teams who could be interested in JJ Peterka, I've said that there's a lot of teams interested in him, but currently the top suitors for Peterka are the New York Rangers, the Vancouver Canucks, the Chicago Blackhawks, the Columbus Blue Jackets, and the Tampa Bay Lightning. All of those teams have been linked to Peterka. Those aren't the only ones, though. I would assume that every single contender has Peterka circled on their trade boards. They want this kid because he hasn't hit a ceiling yet. He's already a 60-point player, and he's not even close to his ultimate prime. So that is a situation to look out for over the next week or so. Another player that we need to talk about real quick that we've already discussed in length on this channel is Bowen Byram. Unlike Peterka, where it seems like the Sabres are trying, it's 50-50 right now with Peterka, whether or not they trade him. It seems like it's a near 100% certainty that Bowen Byram will be traded away from the Buffalo Sabres. His case is a lot more open and shut, just because, as we've discussed already, there's just a defensive logjam of left-shot defensemen here on the Buffalo Sabres. You already have Owen Power and Rasmus Dahlin, and as for Owen Power, his skill set is very similar to that of Bowen Byram. They both eat up power play minutes, so if you were to keep both, one of them is going to likely not do well. And another big point about Bowen Byram is that he's looking for a significant pay raise on his current salary. He's currently making just under million a year. I believe $3.85 million. He's probably looking towards now the $8 to $9 million range. And for the Buffalo Sabres, it's just unwise for them to spend $21 million in their top three defensemen. That's something that Toronto can do. That's not something that the Sabres and Terry Pegula right now can't afford. But Byram did have a very good 2024-25 season. A lot of times he's your glue guy, he's your spark, especially in those mid-season lull kind of games, right? He put up a career high in points, even without playing on the power play for a good chunk of this season. He has been linked to a bunch of different teams, just like JJ Peterka. There are a lot of teams in for Byram this offseason, but the top couple of teams that are interested in Bowen Byram are the LA Kings, the Vancouver Canucks, the Minnesota Wild, and, a little bit more of a dark horse candidate, but the St. Louis Blues. But the overall vibe right now is that Bowen Byram gets traded to a Western Conference team. Let's keep on moving real quick here. Let's talk about Mattias Samuelsson for a little bit, right? In the case for Mattias Samuelsson specifically, the Sabres are looking to either buy him out or trade him away to some other team. The problem with Samuelsson, that's not really the case with Jack Quinn, is salary. Mattias Samuelsson is currently in the third year of a 7-year-long contract that looks to pay him $4.25 million. As I mentioned before, the Sabres are either going to trade or buy him out, and this is all really in response. It really seemed like the tide shifted for Samuelsson after Tage Thompson was brutally headshotted by the New Jersey Devils, and Mattias Samuelsson, he was wearing an A, and his response was nothing. And as a burly, big, bottom-pairing defenseman at this point in his career, that's unacceptable. That is completely unacceptable. And you saw after that incident, Samuelsson lost his A, he lost ice time, was scratched more often by Lindy Ruff. It really seems like the Sabres are down on him and could be looking to get whatever they can for Samuelsson. Samuelsson departing is in line with a larger effort to retool the Sabres defensive core. As I mentioned already, you have guys like Rasmus Dahlin, Owen Power. Bo Byram is going to be gone. Samuelsson is looking to be gone. That leaves a couple of holes in your top 4 D core. And the Sabres could be looking to the trade market to maybe rectify some of those holes. You have Rasmus Andersson of the Calgary Flames, Jordan Spence on the LA Kings. Carson Soucy is reportedly wanted out of New York. Chris Drury does not want to keep him anymore, did not have a good last season, so he could be traded. Nick Perbix in free agency, and more of a long shot free agency signing could have been Vladislav Gavrikov of the LA Kings. But the Sabres overall are trying to retool the defense, and I guess leads us into our next discussion about top 6 forwards. As I just mentioned here, the Sabres are looking for 2 of them. The Sabres are looking for a second-line center, and they're looking for a top 6 winger. And I've outlined a few candidates who I think fit the mold with what the Sabres are trying to find right now. First and foremost, let's talk about the second-line center. And a perfect candidate for that is Marco Rossi of the Minnesota Wild. He just turned down a bridge contract with the Wild, and that seemed like a last-ditch effort to maybe get Rossi signed in Minnesota for the next few years. He didn't. He rejected that deal. He doesn't want to sign a short-term bridge deal. He wants to sign a big, lengthy, long-term contract for whatever team he decides to play for next. That means he's probably gone from Minnesota, as they already have Kirill Kaprizov and Joel Eriksson-Ek on some hefty contracts over there. That could lead to Marco Rossi being traded to a team like Buffalo, who is in dire need of a top 6 forward. The problem with Rossi, and I'm sure you guys in the comment section will point this out, is that he's an undersized, smaller forward who kind of got pushed around in the playoffs. That is a problem, but the Sabres have to first make the playoffs for that to be a problem. And as I mentioned already, the Sabres also want a top 6 winger. Guys who could fit the mold there are Brian Rust, Alexis Lafreniere, I know, exciting, Brock Besser in free agency, Jordan Kyrou of the St. Louis Blues, Jason Robertson of the Dallas Stars, although that one's a little more unrealistic, and then Andrei Kuzmenko and Jonathan Drouin, both who are free agents right now. But anyways, folks, that is, I think, all of the rumors. I think I've covered it all. But anyways, folks, this here is Buffalo SportsCenter. Make sure to hit that like button and subscribe, and I hope to see all of you in a video very, very soon. Peace.